morning, homeschoolers. It's Uncle Larry. Early morning edition, fresh out of bed. I'll try to get a cohesive train of thought happening here, even though it's a bit early. Sometimes these morning sessions are a little more therapeutic. Just wanted to say hello. Beautiful spring day here in sunny downtown Nashville, Tennessee. Hope you guys are enjoying the spring weather. It's quite nice. So, even though I'm a winter and fall guy by nature, I do like spring too, and the occasional. But we get some nice days here. So, hell, thanks for all the kind words about the latest videos and all that stuff. I appreciate it. The ongoing homeschooler PayPal donations, much appreciated. I got a few things in the VCB that I'd like to get to. Let's see if I can get my brain going. Oh, did you notice that was at 4:32? My little mock piece. I thought I would tune it to 4:32 just to try to calm you guys down, with the vibration of the universe, Because we all know that 440 was invented by the Nazis to be discordant and to cause anarchy and insanity in people. Do we know this really? We've looked it up. You think there's any truth to all that, people? I just do whatever I got to do to get paid for sessions, so I tune to 440. That's what I've been doing for a long time. There is something pleasing about 432. That's how nice it sounds. I might not be exactly 432 Jacob Collier. It's real close. Let's see. A couple things in the VCB here. Larry, at this point in your life, is there anything you're truly missing? I think about that a lot. I'm 55 years old, certainly not rich by any means, but, I can buy a sandwich if I need to, and I've been able to find most of the instruments that I've always lusted after in my life, and all that. The only thing in life that I really am missing is a pool for my kids. And we've talked about this. I still haven't found it. And summer's coming, and it's gonna hurt. So maybe somebody out there in the Franklin, Brentwood area has an older couple, has a pool they're not using much that I could rent from you or trade for guitar lessons. We wouldn't use it much, just an hour or two here and there. A couple days a week, I could help pay for maintenance, upkeep. Think about it, But yeah, I got a funny story about the swimming pool situation. I told this to a couple guys on a session the other day, and they were laughing. When I first moved into this neighborhood here, a couple years ago after my divorce, like 3 years ago, there's a couple blocks over. There's like a little. It's actually not. It's pretty big actually. Swimming tennis area for the neighborhood, and nice pool over there. It's very crowded in the summer with kids. And I went over there when we first moved in, and I was going to inquire about getting a membership. So I went over there, and then the guy goes, "Oh, you got to talk to that guy. He's the head guy." So I'll go over and talk to that guy. I can't remember his name, but I said, "Man, I just moved in the neighborhood. I was hoping I can get in membership." He goes, "Ah, man, it's a long waiting list. You got to sign up on a waiting list. It might take a couple of years, but we'll eventually get to you." And I was like, "Really? I mean, it's not that big of a neighborhood." I'm like, "Okay, man." So I thought about it. I came back a couple of days later, and I was like trying to think of an angle. Maybe I could expedite the process a little bit. I said, I don't usually do this type of thing, but I pulled the. Hey man, found the guy again, and I'm talking to him, and I go, "Man, I'm a session player. I play with a lot of, well-known artists. Man, what if I put together a little benefit concert or something like that to help expedite the process of getting in here?" And the guy goes, "Dude, Keith Urban can't even get his kids in here." And I was like, "Okay, bud." So that's where I'm at with that. And my yard sucks for building a pool. It would be bad. Floodplain a little bit. So I extend the offer to the Homeskoolin, Franklin, Brentwood area. I know it's crazy, but maybe somebody does have a pool they wouldn't mind sharing with Uncle Larry and his heathen children. You know, a lot of people have pools they don't even use in Nashville. I've noticed this. I have several older friends that they don't even use their pools. It's like, I don't even swim, so it's not for me. Okay, a couple more VCBs. Hey Larry, what's the difference between band guys and studio guys? Man, great question. This is much talked about and always has been in Nashville. Ever since I moved here in 1992, you always have people talking about band guys, touring guys, studio guys. Okay. I've studied this very intensely. I study lots of things. I study producers. All the great producers I've been able to work with in life, fortunately, I study them. I study the way they make records. I study the culture of sessioneering, the way, the act of making records. I'm fascinated by all this. I've always studied it. And one of the things you'll notice, there is a massive difference between studio guys and band guys. See, there's even one step further in Nashville. People talk about road guys. What usually happens, and this has sort of been the model that Nashville was built on, is like, there's an artist, right? Famous artist that's had some hits. They've got a touring band that they use to go on the road, but those guys don't normally play on the records that the artist makes. The artist will use studio guys to make the record. And this is usually because of budget constraints. Studio guys are fast. And okay, now, here's the thing. This doesn't get talked about much, but I'm telling you, I've got enough experience working with all different kinds of musicians where I feel like I can talk about this, and I feel like the information I'm giving you is pretty accurate. See, studio guys can play anything. All you got to do is hum something to a studio guy one time and they can play it right back to you perfectly. That's great. That's wonderful when you need it. But, the first take of the first track with a bunch of studio guys already sounds like it could be a record. See, when you get with band guys, which I've done plenty of, it doesn't work like that. You got to slog it out. Like just yesterday, I was working with a couple dear old friends of mine who were founding members of seminal, humongous rock bands, and we were just goofing around in the studio trying to write some stuff. And these guys are great players, great dudes, but they're band guys, right? They're not studio guys, and they never were. But they were hugely successful, right? I'd tell you who they were, but I'm not sure that they'd want this thing publicized or anything. So whatever, I'm not going to risk it. But I'm not trying to be all mysterious here. I'm not that cool. But anyway, so we're trying to write a song yesterday, and we get in a circle in the studio, and man, it's just like, you just slog it out, man. You start coming up with something, and it's very rough at first, very rough. And then every once in a while, somebody plays something, the other guys go, "Oh, that's good. Make more of that bit." Keep playing. "Oh, that's a cool bit. Use that bit." And then eventually the sections start to happen, right? We got a decent sounding verse. It takes a long time, but you get there. But the parts are usually pretty unique, because that's the thing. Session guys will give you a perfect take right out of the gate, but it's not necessarily very unique. See, band guys don't think like that. Band guys play with more passion. It takes them forever to get their bit, but once they got it, it's usually way more interesting than what a session player would have came up with. I've noticed this to be the case. After doing many projects with studio guys and band guys, it takes way longer with band guys, but the end result is usually better and more interesting and more unique. This is why people bitch about Music Row records. They always say that they have no heart, no soul, they're cookie cutter, it's the same shit over and over. See, you got to imagine this stuff is being played by people who are bouncing around from one session to another. These are unbelievable musicians who are very fast, and they get hired because they're very fast. With these guys, you don't have to slog out parts. There's something on the first take. But that's not always necessarily the most interesting thing, right? sometimes if you can wait through the process of hammering it out with band guys, it's way better in the end. It's more unique. I've always thought that. I don't mind it. I would personally rather see. Sometimes I get brought in as like the only, they call it a ringer guy. I'm like a band. This happens to me a lot. I don't know why people call me for this, but a band will be a band, young guys or whatever, and they'll call just one session guy in to help. And I come in and they already have a guitar player, but I'm there sort of to support, and I notice it's like, it takes forever to get tracks. The stuff that studio guys could have got in one take, these guys are still fucking with it hours later. But it doesn't matter. It's because that's not, in the end, none of that matters. It doesn't matter how long it took to get it. What matters is what you got, right? So I feel like that is what, when people hear musical records and they hear Nirvana or something like that, the biggest difference they're hearing is the fact that these are band guys, and they have very interesting thoughts, unique ideas, really rough, great shit that they came up with. But you can't really compare the two worlds. It's not really, there's nothing about it that's similar. I prefer rougher, more unpolished music, personally. I love old Steely Dan records and shit like that are very polished and clean, but I also like a little raunch when I'm in the mood, So I appreciate both, but I just think it's fascinating, Like I think a good way to do it is to mix it. If you got a couple band guys and you got a couple studio guys, that's usually a pretty cool mix because you got the polish of like the years of studio experience that a guy can bring you, and then you still got a little bit of that bandy raunch. That usually works pretty good. I hope this is making sense to some of you guys out there, because I definitely noticed a big difference. Now then there was like this sort of back in the 2000s, there would be the occasional country artist that was being very cavalier, and they would say, "I'm using my band guys on my next record. Fuck you, studio guys." It's like, okay, great. And people will do that. They'll take their touring band in the studio, and that's great. I love that. I don't care how they do it as long as they're happy. And but in the end, the studio guys always get called in to clean up whatever janitorial work is left. I've had that happen so many times, man. A producer will call me and say, "Dude, I got these tracks with this band, and it's close, but we need some finishing touches." And I'll come in and play the parts that the guys couldn't play, or I'll come in and do the final detail work, carpentry that makes the room look really nice, the detail work. That's always my job. On the Jim Irsay gig that I do, which is funny, like everyone assumes roles in bands, There's a million guitar players in that band. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Mike Wanchik. But anytime somebody needs like a really annoying part learned off the record that's kind of complicated, they always say, "You play that, man." And I'm fine with that. Like, I do the stuff that nobody else wants to do, I'm cool with it. More complicated parts or whatever. I am good with that. I always tell Kenny Wayne on that gig, I just say, "Man, you play all the solos because you're great at that. I'll do all the rhythm shit," and we work together really well. Kenny's a gunslinger, he's gonna give you a great solo, Let the old guys worry about the bullshit janitorial work. That's what I do. That's my job. Clean up on aisle 7. It's always been my job. So I'm cool with all that. But it was really cool yesterday. We're all in the circle working on this track, and like the bass player was in a band known for its great bass parts, right? So, watching him develop a part over a pretty simple chord progression was fascinating, and seeing the creative energy that goes into that. It's like, I love to witness the creative process in people. When people I love the journey from where you play when you first sit down to what ends up being on the record. I love that. And I wish that that could be more documented for the YouTube crowd out there, but that's the sort of sacred part of being in the studio that you're never going to see on YouTube. You know, it's not cool to film all that. It's not cool to, because it's very cathartic. You know, some of these people are playing shit that sounds terrible at first. You know, they don't want that shit out there in the universe, you know. So, but that's part of the process of getting to where you need to be, right, on the final record. So, deep thoughts for today. I guess we got somewhere. I don't have any time to talk about any more VCB, but I hope you guys have a great day. I'm off to work. Tune your guitars to 432 and see if you start feeling this calm feeling with your nice tea. All right, friends. See you.